Insperity presents the Small Business Advocate Show with Jim Blasingame, brought to you by FedEx, CareerBuilder.com, and Palo Alto Software. This is a copyrighted production of Small Business Network, Inc., all rights reserved.
The old man stranded again, so off I ran, a young world crashing around me.
That's Ann Wilson, ladies and gentlemen.
Of getting what I need. He looked at
lead singer for Heart.
Smiled.
That's her sister Nancy on guitar.
Said, no.
Welcome back, 23 After. I'm Jim Blasingame. Thanks for hanging out with me. Please check out my website, smallbusinessadvocate.com. We're having a great visit with our new friend, Christy Demetrakis. She is the author of Faith to Conquer Fear, brand new book. Christy, congratulations on the book. Thanks for hanging out with me. Welcome to the show. She's the president of The Empowered Speaker. And the website again, Christy?
EmpoweredSpeaker.com.
All right, EmpoweredSpeaker.com. So, Christy, let's talk about doing a better job of connecting and communicating with our customers. What's your advice?
Connecting with the customers depends on a couple of things. Number one, what you're trying to do. But the first step, what I always tell new entrepreneurs and small business owners, is that having an elevator speech is very critical. That's the first step. Because anytime you want to promote
remind folks what an elevator speech is.
An elevator speech is that 30-second infomercial, for lack of a better word, that really highlights
you better have a 10-second one ready.
You better have 10 seconds.
Because that elevator, that might be a 2-story building.
And talk fast. But it's a prepared, call it a prepared presentation that really highlights the value that you or your organization bring and the benefits of your product or service that really differentiates you from competition. And so having that ready whenever you're networking, you're at a networking function, or you're meeting that person for the first time and you're really trying to get yourself in the door to open up the door for a further conversation,
right,
so that you can give them that proposal, that elevator speech is critical. That is a first step.
Well, it's got to be intuitive, right? It's got to be something that number one that they get, where the minute they hear it they say, yeah, I get that, but also something that they can tell somebody else about.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing you want to do, because you have to. That elevator speech is only designed to open the doors of communication, so that the conversation goes further. And when that conversation goes further, that's when you start to understand from the person you're talking to what their needs are.
Right.
And then you tailor your further conversations based on that need,
right,
that you've heard them say.
All right, what's next?
So after you've done that, then it just becomes a matter of making sure that everything you do is all about them. And it is establishing those face-to-face meetings. It is making sure that you're doing what you say you're going to do. It's all about integrity.
But Christy, I love talking about me and my company so much. I just love me.
I know you love you, but you want to sell you.
Oh, okay.
You want to sell you.
So I have to let it be about them for a little while?
It is absolutely about them. And this is very, we can parlay what we're talking about now into presentation skills as well, because one of the things I always tell people when I'm teaching them about being a good presenter is that it is not about you as a presenter. It is about your audience. And you need to have that servant mentality that says, I have something to offer that they can't get unless they buy it from me or unless they hear it from me. And so when you have that mentality, your way of approaching things is very different. It's a very different mindset. So you're not just pounding, and I have this, and I'm great because I have this that meets your needs.
What I learned a long time ago, and what I tell my audience is, when you're selling, you're mining for gold, and the gold is not in your head; it's in your prospects or your customer's head. So that's where you spend your time, right?
That's where you spend your time.
Yeah, and so now when you talk about communication, you're not just talking about saying words. Communication is multifaceted, isn't it?
It sure is, and that's where we lose a lot, right? Because I was reading this book called Nonverbal Advantage, and it talks about how even though folks can say one thing, their body language is speaking something completely different. it's the way your head tilts to the side when you say something. It's the fact that, unconsciously your tongue may have slipped through your teeth to show dishonesty.
Right.
It's all these little things that, especially as a salesperson, you have to be in tune to so that you recognize when you have the upper hand and when you're losing.
If you're in sales, if you can't read body, if you can't see their body language and sort of get some kind of a tip from how they're behaving, then you're going to make a lot of mistakes.
You really will. You really will.
And you can't get any of that by email, can you?
No, you can't.
Unless the emoticons just don't tell the whole story, do they, Christy?
They are horrible. Emoticons are horrible.
Let me say this, Christy. Folks, never, ever, ever put an emoticon in a business email.
That's right.
Now, once you've been working with people for years and they become your buddy, okay, if you're talking about something else. But if it's a serious business, please never put an emoticon in there. Thank you.
That's right. That's right.
Last thoughts, Christy. Last thoughts, Christy.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Your last thoughts.
My last thoughts. So what I want to leave people with is I want to make sure that folks are living their dream. Right, that's what my book talks about. Faith to Conquer Fear, Inspiration to Achieve Your Dreams is all about doing that thing that God has purposed for you to do. So I'm telling you, first of all, to make sure you're focused on achieving that thing that you have in mind. From a communication standpoint, be a good student. And go to my website, www.empoweredspeaker.com, sign up for my newsletter, and you can purchase my book on Amazon.com.
There you go. Check it out, folks. Hey, Christy, will you come back another day?
I will. Love to.
We'd love to have you back. Christy Demetrakis, ladies and gentlemen. She'll be back another day. I'm Jim Blasingame. I'll be back after these messages. Whatever you do, don't go away.
Insperity presents the Small Business Advocate Show with Jim Blasingame, brought to you by FedEx, CareerBuilder.com, and Palo Alto Software. This is a copyrighted production of Small Business Network, Inc., intended for the private use of our audience. Except as otherwise provided by copyright law, all other copying, redistribution, or publication without prior written consent is prohibited. All rights reserved.